Consultech, synergizing transformation.
A person who stands for the network that he has passed out from COEP and also a past student of IIM Bangalore, uh, having built the empire of Pushkaraj Group over a period of years, and I would not tell his age, but his network speaks for himself, and the energy is definitely something that we should look at, the positivity, the optimism to look at things
Which
happening.
goes around
I've been
when people
fortunate.
talk that age is only a number. It is your mindset that really decides how old you are. So at an age of 40 job, and Mr. S.L. Kirloskar is an example. At the age of 90 plus, he was working and he was as energetic as anybody. So for me, if I really have to look at a role model as far as age and experience and professionalism is concerned, Mr. S.L. Kirloskar comes right in front of me, and I have great regard for personalities like him. And in fact, more than taking, giving gives you a lot of satisfaction. And once you start giving, naturally you enrich yourself as far as the content part of it is concerned. So, in form of giving, I have given it, whether it is an academia, whether it is the industry, whether it is different forums where I go to talk about different topics, domestically or internationally. And it takes only such half an hour every day in which you can satisfy some 4 or 5 people. And that is how you are creating a network also of people who really start liking the way you are doing it. And I could be setting up an example. So when I'm giving that kind of a help, tomorrow that person who becomes equipped with all that knowledge, he starts becoming a sort of a mentor to somebody else. So we will have our shares of failures. But failures too should give you that learning rather than depressing you further, and then try to increase your market share. So this is the philosophy with which I really started working. Even for I was recognized by IIM Bangalore again to be given that award called Alumni Services Award. Amongst all the global alumni, I think it is 25,000 plus
Wow.
global alumni. I was the first recipient of this award. And this award basically talks, rather given to the candidates who have done well in their own personal, professional life, as well as who have given back to the Alma Matter at the maximum kind of application and the payload requirements which are there. So we are talking constantly about being there in the marketplace, not only in India, but globally. Now, when we are talking about globally, we will have to make our factories also smart, which is where the industry 4.0 or 5.0 comes into picture. Because we will have to produce the product with the same quality today, tomorrow, and day after. And if we have to do that, the process has to be totally automated. It will have to follow the platforms of digital revolution, which we call it as Industry 4.0 or Industry 5.0, where we are really again bringing in the human element into the cyber physical world, which was being established with AI and IoT and whatnot. Audience, as such. And I'm seriously having that as a part of my agenda of to start with writing the first book, and thereafter maybe if left out, it could continue. Like we always say, that the first attempt is very important. Thereafter, you get used to it. So maybe we'll start writing a couple of other books as well. And
Hi,
yes,
this is Shirish Kulkarni, MD and founder of STROTA Consultech, and we have been having this series of HATKE interviews, HATKE interactions, as we call it, with various personalities, individuals who have done great in their lives, had led their lives in a different way, and have been role models. So here we have Shailendra Goswami with us. Welcome, Shailendra to this session.
good morning. Yeah.
Wonderful. So he has been, kind of a person who stands for the network that he has passed out from COEP and also a past student of IIM Bangalore, uh, having built the empire of Pushkaraj Group over a period of years, and I would not tell his age, but his network speaks for himself, and the energy is definitely something that we should look at, the positivity, the optimism to look at things happening. I've been fortunate to be associated with him for a number of initiatives. So let's talk to him and understand his journey, and where he heads right now. Where he gets that energy that keeps him going every day, every night. So just to break the ice, Shailendraji, people start talking about something called as retirement at the age as they near 50, 55, and as they age to 60. They call it as end of their career. So what is your perspective? What actually I've been seeing you absolutely fully energetic. How do you see this term called as retirement?
It's a very good question. Need of the hour for people to understand. And I personally feel that there is a phrase which goes around when people talk that age is only a number. It is your mindset that really decides how old you are. So at an age of 40, with the wrong mindset, you could be an old person. And at the age of 70, with the right mindset, you could be as young as anybody. So I personally feel that age really gives you not only the experience from the educational background that you have had, and it gives you the amount of confidence that is required to really take some leaps in the career, not only for yourselves, but for others as well. And I have been seeing it that in India, or at least where I have been interacting, people have been limiting on their job description the age as 60 years. And actually, I personally feel at senior positions, the career starts at the age of 60, because that is when you have really matured enough to give out to the society, give out to whatever that ecosystem that you would like to get into. Very recently, I was requested by some people to look for some higher positions, and in every job description, the age limit was 60. Now, when we are talking about a CEO, CHRO, CEO positions, you cannot be limiting that age factor as 60, because most of the people, they gain that kind of a confidence after 55. Because if I take that 25, 26, you postgraduate, and then another 20, 30 years you put in, you come to 55, and you cannot be just working for only 5 years after all that 30 years of toil. And you are left with a lot. If really health permits, I think you can stretch your professional career to much longer durations. I have worked in Kirloskers as my first job. And Mr. S.L. Kirloskar is an example. At the age of 90 plus, he was working and he was as energetic as anybody. So for me, if I really have to look at a role model as far as age and experience and professionalism is concerned, Mr. S.L. Kirloskar comes right in front of me. And I have great regard for personalities like him. And in fact, I may not really be capable enough to say that I'm reflecting that kind of a personality presently at my age. I'm 73 running. But I have been very active, almost 8 to 10 hours every day. And there is so much to do. And I cannot think of retirement, whatever one may say. Yes, of course, with the age, you will have physical limitations. But intellectually, your mind is absolutely running around with so many ideas, and there has to be somebody who should be able to pick up those ideas. And that is where I personally feel, at least for the senior management, the age relaxation should be there beyond 60 for consideration of a candidature.
Wonderful. And with various ecosystems that you are working, and tirelessly you've been active. Very closely seeing you, getting up early in the morning, making sure that you are up and running before everybody else. Um, And being, in the startup ecosystem, let it be industry, academia, let it be any kind of a conference that you need to attend or you know to present, let it be any kind of interaction that we have with a client. It could be manufacturer or any other. It could be overseas or otherwise. I think you are always there with your notes prepared, very detailed way in which, and you still have that habit of writing the things down, right? Though electronic media is definitely helping out. Is there a sense of giving back? I also saw a lot of way in which you network, in which for this alma mater that you have, let it be COEP, let it be any academia, let it be Deccan Education Society or MMCOE or IIM Bangalore, you have been helping others, like a sense of giving back.
More than that, it's a very good question, and it covers many aspects of personality. I may say that I have developed that personality of providing services. Right from my childhood, you may say that I was more of a giver than taker. I have said more of no's to positions and powers rather than saying yeses. And the only purpose for that was that I wanted to be within the ecosystem, trying to give out as much as I can. Because I was one of those beneficiaries where I could have very good education, I could have very good bosses, I could have very good mentors, I could have very good friends, and I could have very good customers, suppliers who really taught me on every step where exactly what is required to be done, whether it was in private companies or public limited companies or defense establishment. Everywhere there was something to learn, and which is where I realized that it is more than taking, giving gives you a lot of satisfaction. And once you start giving, naturally you enrich yourself as far as the content part of it is concerned. So in form of giving, I have given it, whether it is an academia, whether it is the industry, whether it is different forums where I go to talk about different topics, domestically or internationally. I get that sense of, you can say, belonging to that particular topic. When I'm talking to these people, I really create that kind of an ownership, and which is what I'm trying to impart, or rather trying to project to my audience, that unless and until you take that ownership of a particular subject, a domain, or a topic, you cannot further your career in profession or personally or otherwise. Therefore, I personally feel that I have been very busy in giving these days, at least when there is a succession which has been planned within my own group companies, I get a little extra time to really work out things to my liking, where I have really created an agenda points as problem solving and value addition. And under this umbrella, whatever comes, I'm trying to do that. Whether it is individual students mentoring, whether it is startups for whom we are mentoring, or whether it is an investment ecosystem where they require mentoring for technology, technical startups, or for that matter, it is a global platform where things are required to be told where exactly India is heading, what kind of infrastructure getting built, and where exactly India is going to pitch 4 years from now, and why people should look at India as hubs for automotive, for manufacturing, for manpower, for agriculture, for pharma, so on and so forth. Therefore, I feel that interacting with the people in the form of giving, or for that matter, taking it from the audience, what exactly is required to be given, really gives me a lot of motivation to really start thinking about the future, where I have to plan my course of actions, and then enrich myself on the contents which are required to be commensurate with the technologies, or whether the industrial growth, or whether the economy, or whatever you have it. So I think all in all, it is a matter of personality. And once you reconcile to your personality traits, I think things become very, very easy and clear to you.
Excellent, excellent. And being in a position where succession is planned for the group, where you have a couple of number of industries under that umbrella, and you said that it is all in auto mode, delegated mode, where you are now having that free space bandwidth, looking for something that you were actually always eager to do, consulting in that space. Building your own portfolio, starting your own new consulting company. I think this is really something which is inspiring, and leading from front, giving back. Indeed, I've seen that you anybody approaching you, you have those sets of people that you quickly come up with some ideas. You have some dots in your mind, and you are able to give those numbers, contact numbers, directly calling that person, getting that person connected, doing best of best that you could do to make a difference for somebody else sitting next to you. I think that's really awesome, and that gives me the next question, that or kind of a direction in which do you feel that network is net worth, where you are part of so many ecosystems, and you are on board of maybe 10 plus educational large educational institutes, and also on board of various companies. So do you think that network makes a lot of difference for a human being to be more effective?
I'm very much convinced that you cannot do everything alone, and physically or otherwise. So you have to have a network of like-minded people, like for a network of like-minded professionals, organizations, institutes, and whatnot. Once you establish that network, you start realizing the advantages of that network. I will give you a very simple example. Way back in 1992, when I was busy in a job, I realized that I can do much more, which is where I disrupted my life and started my own enterprise. And the first and foremost agenda which I had was to create a global network. And why global network? Because the economies were opened in 1992. And once I create that global network, the technologies, the products, and the services can flow at ease, because the boundaries were to disappear. World was going to become flat. And which is where I wanted to take that early advantage and created a global village concept. And today I can boast that I have a network in almost 18 countries, in 12 cities in India. And that gives me tremendous amount of power to execute any exercise or to accept any exercise and take it to its logical conclusion. So when somebody talks to me about a particular problem situation, about a joint venture, about sourcing of a component, sourcing of a system, sourcing of a technology, my lead time is minimum 24 hours, maximum a week. And within that, I give them their first reply, which could be halfway through the basic objective with which they would like to really start that particular exercise. And people are quite amazed on that. And that is where, as I said, that I was totally convinced that network is going to be certainly a power that I would hold. And in like you defined it very well, network is net worth, and which is giving me advantages even after 32 years of my being in business. So although I may not be running after numbers these days, but then I'm certainly making others to run for numbers, and which is where I'm giving this network exposure to most of the people. Like today, I'm asking Indian industry to look for platforms in different countries where I have already established partners like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, US, Europe. I'm trying to give exposure to these companies in those marketplaces where their products or services can be absorbed. Now, if I didn't have this kind of a network, I could not easily offer a solution to someone here in India. Why global perspective? Because post-COVID, things changed. Initially, everyone was talking about India and China. And post-COVID, everyone started talking about India and China plus one strategies, where everyone wanted to look at India as the global hub for many things, like I defined earlier. And when everyone is looking at India as a global hub, naturally in India, the Indian ecosystem cannot have an inward looking and restrict their vision only to domestic demand. They have to look at global marketplace, and which is where that network comes very, very handy. When we are talking about the global marketplace, naturally we will get that kind of an exposure through the network which we have created. So if in a country like America, I have four destinations where I can mobilize the resources because America is as big as India. Territory-wise, yeah, from west to east is almost 3,000 miles one needs to travel. And when I believe in local and network principles, I cannot be really creating only one contact point in America. So there has to be different points of contacts for different domains, for different products, different services within America itself, like we have it within India. So I'm totally convinced, and the advantages of network, I have experienced it. Talking about providing help to people or giving that solace or satisfaction of a question being asked to you that can I or would you sort of a thing. I spending an hour or half an hour, if it can solve somebody's problem in a longer term, I would rather spend that half an hour and not bother about my own priorities in that half an hour. And it takes only such half an hour every day in which you can satisfy some 4 or 5 people. And that is how you are creating a network also of people who really start liking the way you are doing it. And I could be setting up an example. So when I'm giving that kind of a help, tomorrow that person who becomes equipped with all that knowledge, he starts becoming a sort of a mentor to somebody else. So the chain continues. So ultimately, it is the development of the entire ecosystem I'm trying to work out. That today I'm giving it, tomorrow somebody else will give based on the principles that I have established of giving. So, getting these helps around, it doesn't cost you anything because what I have to do is just scan through certain numbers, relevant numbers, and pass it on. It takes me hardly not more than 10 minutes. But then those 10 minutes, the kind of knowledge which I have shared, they could not get it even a month of field work or groundwork because they don't know where to approach and what to do. So I consider it as my responsibility and duty
Wow.
rather than a voluntary effort. I personally consider it as my responsibility. I try to reply to every question or an inquiry which comes and directed to me because somebody is looking at me with a lot of hope. Somebody is really believing in my credibility, and that is where I would not like that image to be tarnished by behaving arrogantly or I just not acknowledging that request or I just sleeping over it. So my conscience does not allow me to really do such thing in a negative manner. That is where I said that I take it as a responsibility or a duty to do such things. And once the thinking clarity is there, that you have taken that as a responsibility, I think rest all follows.
I think it's really remarkable. We say that, it's a responsibility or a duty for a person to respond to all the inquiries. I've seen so many people reaching out to you, and I personally reaching out for some connects, and I've seen that those connects have been given, and you reverse follow up that, what has happened out of it to make sure that, that connect happens, that conversion happens, and that person who is sitting next really gets that's something that is that person is desiring. At least you make sure that that path is created for this individual. So it's a great give back. I think sense of a gesture of gratitude that you have, and it rubs off. In Marathi, there is a small poem, and with your permission, I'll just outline that. देणाऱ्याने देत जावे, घेणाऱ्याने घेत जावे. घेता घेता एक दिवस देणाऱ्याचे हात घ्यावे. म्हणजे it's like you just outlined it in English where you take that sense of how the other person is giving you, you build that chain up for the next person to be benefited. And I think it's a great philosophy, great spiritual dimension, and you're exercising it as a role model. I mean, it is wonderful. Now, working in this network of folks where various people are concerned, and I believe alumni, alma matter matters a lot. We talk about College of Engineering Pune, we talk about IIM Bangalore, and getting this distinguished award of alumni services in the Golden Jubilee of IIM Bangalore, completing 50 years in 2024. You have been unique, and do you feel that something got recognized out of whatever, you set up the chapter in Pune for IIM Bangalore alumni, been helping so many people, I believe, professionally, personally, it's a mark where people just come and sit with you, call you, and you go to smaller of the smallest person and, make sure that you give that. So do you feel that, somewhere some recognition has come that gives you more energy to do more and more?
Yeah, any reward is always good. It really motivates you. It increases your morale. It boosts your morale, and it certainly recognition does matter. But we have it in our Bhagavad Gita itself, the 14th अध्याय आपण जे मराठीत म्हणतो कर्मण्येव अधिकारस्ते न फलेषु कदाचन. I have been doing work not for results. I have been doing work because I am convinced that I am required to do that. And I do that work and take it to the logical end. And of course, when you do it with that utmost sincerity and clarity and logically, success is bound to come to you. And of course, like we say in marketing, we cannot be a monopolistic situation where we take 100% market share. We will have our shares of failures, but failures too should give you that learning rather than depressing you further, and then try to increase your market share. So this is the philosophy with which I really started working even for the Alma Matter IIM Bangalore. And previous to this Alumni Services Award, I was recognized by IIM Bangalore, and they invited me to come on board of governors as a member also, which I could not accept because of my personal reasons. I could not really take that, although it was a very, very prestigious offering, and I must thank IIM Bangalore for giving me that opportunity. But then I could not avail that opportunity at such time because I was having certain personal things going on, and it was a lost opportunity as far as I look at it. But then, as I said, that everything is not meant to be. The destiny is ultimately something you decide. And maybe you can say that 5 years down the line, after that board position, I was recognized by IIM Bangalore again to be given that award called Alumni Services Award. Amongst all the global alumni, I think it is 25,000 plus alumni. I was the first recipient of this award. And this award basically talks, rather given to the candidates who have done well in their own personal, professional life, as well as who have given back to the Alma Matter at the maximum. Now, giving it back to Alma Matter, there were a couple of contributions which I have done which are glaring. One is the establishment of Pune chapter, which I could establish with the help of the Alumni Association office bearers in Bangalore, as well as the alumni in Pune. In a limited manner, we started, but today it has become a big tree, and so many activities are undertaken in that. And certainly, after receiving that award, you can say globally, I was recognized wherever I go as an IIMB alumni. Everyone knows about it. So naturally, that earlier topic of networking has gone up further because the credibility is established that everyone knows who am I, and that gives me additional advantage of getting certain solutions arrived at very, very quickly for the problems that our industry has or individuals or professionals may be having it. Now, under this IIM Bangalore Alumni Pune chapter, we created an ecosystem, or rather, you can say a group of people who could become sort of consultants or who could become mentors, who could become teachers based on the experiences which they have got. And we started doing some active professional activity with certain credit courses at the management institutes or MDP programs at management institutes, seminars, webinars, or guest lectures, or maybe programs like transition skilling to increase productive employment in colleges, in universities, and whatnot. And such programs have been accepted by even the chambers of commerce also. And I personally have conducted 4 or 5 such seminars with Hyderabad Management Association in Hyderabad as well. So the more you get involved in activities like this, the more recipients they start coming on from various domains or various sectors or various territories. On the line similar to this, several people approached us to conduct master classes. Now, master classes were conducted for all the CEOs, CXOs, and CHROs of alumni of IIM having minimum 15 to 20 years of experiences. And the topics which covered were strategic leadership, vision, mission, how to really draft a statement like that. Today's topic, like ESG, we are discussing. We are talking about collaborations, acquisition, how to really address these topics. We are talking about global readiness for industry. So at CEO level, how one should be preparing for global readiness. And today's hot topic, the role of AI in management. There are going to be several such topics of master classes, and we will be continuing that activity with the help of a couple of alumni. You happen to be a part of this activity with me as well. And you have yourself understood and realized the importance of conducting such classes, which really gives you a lot of satisfaction that you are imparting, or rather, you are exchanging your experience or views on a particular topic coming from different perspectives.
Wonderful. I think it's a great way that these master classes are conducted. I also remember the strategic leadership was one of the ones that we took, and such a collaboration extends further with various ecosystems like incubation ecosystem that you have, maybe in Science and Technology Park, or could be MIT ADT, it could be other places like Deccan Education Society or MMCOE for that matter. Where you are actually in charge, you are kind of part of a senior advisory position. So, do you see that the trend for startups, where startups to be helped as mentors, there is more kind of cohesion happening where startups are getting help, hand holding, taking them to the next level where any kind of investment related things are required, connect with the investors are concerned. Do you see that that is a critical thing that is required, and you've been operating on that?
Yes. Let me take you back a little, at least 3 years from 3 years earlier from now, when I realized that within my group succession is in place. Naturally, I floated a consulting company, and in that consulting company, the verticals which were there, the first vertical was advisory vertical, in which I take the membership on the advisory boards of universities. Today, I'm very proud that I'm on advisory boards of 7 universities across India. And I'm also on the advisory boards of various companies, which include IT, manufacturing, healthcare, pharma, and whatnot. And in these advisory roles, what we are discussing is how to really establish our candidates for productive employment when we are talking about advisory roles at the industry level. Now, productive employment could be in the form of job, or it could be form of employment, or a entrepreneurship, or in form of job. Now, there are not going to be many jobs, so we have to create entrepreneurs also, which is where the concepts of center of excellences or incubation centers come along. Now, people getting a real-time experience within the tenure of their academia through center of excellences and through incubation center will create some kind of a mindset for entrepreneurial activity, which could turn out to become a startup for tomorrow. And which is where I'm trying to help the universities or the colleges in making students understand the importance of entrepreneurial mindset, that one single idea can lead you to a startup. How that path should be nurtured is the means of going through center of excellences or incubation centers which are getting established. Now, while we are doing that, we are also asking most of the universities to be co-opted by the industry, because ultimately it is the industry academia collaboration which is very, very important. And today industry has also started realizing it. 15 years I have been speaking on this particular topic at various places, how industry should be coming closer to academia, because ultimately what is cooked at the academia is being used at the industry as well. Now, once we realize that a right recipe is provided to the academia, the food which is going to come to the industry is going to be absolutely tasty and delicious. And this importance has been translated into formation of collaborations between industry, like Science and Technology Park, and the universities or the institutes in creating center of excellences, in creating incubation centers, etc., etc., from where the entrepreneurial mindset is getting built and the startups are coming. Now, when startups are coming, startups naturally are very, very, you can say, new to the industrial or a business environment. That is where mentors like us come into picture, where we tell them what is the reality. That because a startup, there are going to be very many startups, and everyone having a passion cannot become a startup. Passion versus business plan is something which one has to realize, which is where the mentors play their role, and the startup has to be techno-commercially viable. That has to be understood. It has to have a revenue model that has to be understood. It has to have a growth trajectory that also has to be understood. And naturally, when you have everything with you, ultimately, how would you execute that? So funds become a bottleneck. So you have everything. You have a product, you have technology, you have commercial viability, you have demand. But if you don't have fund to really execute that idea, that becomes waste. This is where the investors come into picture. So mentoring not only startups, but mentoring investors is also going to be a task for people like us, where the startup understand the technology, the mentors understand the money, finances,
Finance part, yeah.
both have to really marry each other. So each one has to understand the value proposition of the other, and which is where we are playing that role in between and trying to convince the investors how good this particular startup is there, and trying to convince the startup how good this investment could be. Naturally, the investors are totally ROI focused. It has to be a return on investment, what they have it, and certainly they don't want any risk. So risk aversion is also another factor, because money has too many places to be invested these days because of the vibrant economy which is there. The returns are always comparable. And there are people who really believe in startup ecosystem. That is where they invest. But most of the people are looking at some financial gains or ROIs, which have to come very quickly. They prefer mostly the startups not at the incubation stage, but some the startups having certain traction, maybe a year or two down line, some small revenue and things like that. But ultimately, what happens when we are trying to mentor the startups, we always say that it is a valuation game. So how much valuation you come up on the table, that will decide how good an investor you will get it, how lesser equity that you will dilute. And this is the kind of a game which we have to teach both the startups as well as the investors. And I think with the kind of experience that we have gained over the years of running our own businesses, of running somebody else's businesses in job situation, and today, working with the startup investing and ecosystem, We understand the chemistry very well. And it's a matter of time. I think we will be able to see some successes in this domain as well.
Wonderful. The way that you put through that the valuation is the key to success. Not only for the startups where they look at this as a passion, their baby, there's something that they have started. They put their blood, they put their efforts day and night into that, and you see investors looking at it, maybe kind of indifferently, kind of financial, the lens of finance, looking at the multiplying factors, and those have to be really matching. And you might have seen, some degree of failures where startup think that this is the thing should be valued maybe 10 times more, and the investors come back say that okay, it is only two times, and yeah, it is a reality check. So do you see that that kind of a
Yes,
parity
yes.
happens and no?
Yeah. The other day I was talking in a seminar where somebody was asking me what is the difference between acquisition and collaboration. And now, when we are talking of acquisition, we are talking about the startup investment ecosystem, or maybe it could be 20% buyout, it could be 40%, or it could be 100% buyout. So, sort of an acquisition model where we work on equity principles based on valuation. And the second one is collaboration, where we talk about marriages. So in
Hmm?
collaboration, the marriage scenario is there where we have the partnership for a much longer time. Whereas for startup ecosystem, it is very quick. And the investor is looking for ROI. He doesn't want risk. And at the same time, he is planning for his exit also. Because in investment, there are two patterns. One is somebody who is a domain expert. Inorganically, somebody would like to acquire a company and grow. And there could be some strategic financial investor who is only interested in multiplying his money. So, getting an investor of that kind is also a challenge, and which is where most of the times it is a tug of war between an investor and the startup, or maybe somebody who's wanting to sell the company and somebody who's wanting to buy the company. So, who pulls whom is the kind of a battle which goes on, and this totally hinges upon your numbers, financial numbers, and the crux of it is valuation and how you arrive at the valuation. The startup will always try
Right.
to give you a valuation which is much, much higher because it comes emotionally from him. Whereas the investor looks at it totally theoretically, or he only goes by the numbers which have been put on the paper. So he doesn't go by his emotions or, for that matter, projections. So the reality matters as far as the investor is concerned, whereas the startup is looking at it totally emotionally and projections which he has planned for it, for which he is very, very confident. Now, there is always this battle which somebody has to mediate, and which is where we try to play that role.
Great, great. I think working closely with both sides, investors, to make them understand the inherent potential, the capabilities of this organization that you understood as a business, the way that maybe startup owners might not be able to project it, talk about it with a conviction that you would have, that actually raises the justification of a higher valuation that the startup is demanding, and then that translates into something that investors get convinced based on your acumen and your multiplier. And many times, you create those models as mentors to this startup. So I think it's great, but relentlessly updating your knowledge in various spaces. Last 2.5 years, maybe creating this complete ecosystem of investors and working on various calls to grow that knowledge as well. Talking about domains like electric vehicle or industry 4.0, now pioneering industry 5.0 in across India. I think does that and I have not seen you saying anything like, oh, abhi bas ho gaya. I think this is enough. I mean, I've not never seen that kind of a gesture. Anytime, call you at 12 o'clock, call you at in the night. But how do you catch up and keep pace with this
No,
technology world?
actually, I have a vertical in my group as technology forecasting. So I'm thinking 10 years hence, what would be the technologies? What would be the products? What would be the concepts? What would be the skills which would be running the complete business ecosystem. And therefore, I have my agenda full. And today I'm talking about creating a platform like NASCOM, creating a very advanced techniques of agriculture with certain projects which some people are doing, creating some state-of-the-art dairy processing plants in which we convert the milk into different processed products which are not available in India but available elsewhere in the world, bringing up those technologies from advanced countries like Israel and other European countries, trying to understand how AI is going to affect the industry. I'm trying to work out on these concepts and trying to really do my desk research because I feel I have time. And like I said, that we have taken that mandate of technology forecasting under which we are thinking 10 years ahead. What exactly is going to be? What exactly is going to be a two-wheeler after 10 years? What exactly is going to be a four-wheeler after 10 years? How the commercial vehicles will be after 10 years? How an equipment will be after 10 years? So it gets we talked about emissions, we talked about mobility, the fuels. It started from diesel, gas, petrol, gas, hybrids, and then electric, and combinations of hybrids with gas and electric. The policies are getting framed. There are several podcasts which I have spoken about electric vehicles also. The two-wheeler, three-wheelers will stay as far as to electric vehicle propulsion is concerned. Passengers vehicles will definitely pick it up. But certainly we will have to look at the batteries and the battery charging mechanism, which will really give boost to the demand for passenger vehicle. And commercial vehicles certainly will not be an electric vehicle. It may take a route of hydrogen or fuel cells or whatever it is because of the kind of application and the payload requirements which are there. So we are talking constantly about being there in the marketplace, not only in India, but globally. Now, when we are talking about globally, we will have to make our factories also smart, which is where the industry 4.0 or 5.0 comes into picture. Because we will have to produce the product with the same quality today, tomorrow, and day after. And if we have to do that, the process has to be totally automated. It will have to follow the platforms of digital revolution, which we call it as Industry 4.0 or Industry 5.0, where we are really again bringing in the human element into the cyber physical world, which was being established with AI and IoT and whatnot. And therefore, I personally think that with the kind of vision our government has for the country of creating an economy which could take us to a second or third place in the global environment with whatever that trillion number would be, because I don't want to get into the mechanics of the numbering games. But we would like to attain that second or third position in the next 5 to 10 years of this thing. Then all these elements they come into picture: the technological advancement, the mobility that we have been discussing, the green environment that we have been discussing, to live friendly and in a good non-polluted environment, or for that matter, smart manufacturing, where we will induce technologies to create not only good products, reliable quality, but also scale up, because scaling up is going to be important. Everyone is expecting that we would be able to produce the kind of volumes which China used to produce, or almost a million pieces per day, or things like that. For that, we will have to make all our factories smart.
Great. I think touching all this technology and having this technology vertical to look ahead for 10 years, that's a wonderful way, and that enables you to speak about those dimensions in any conferences of any kind of interactions that you have, where you get invited. I think almost once in a week or a couple of days in a week, you are featuring into some of the other kind of discussions. I think you have been also requested to make your statement after every policy, maybe budgets. Also, you are sharing your viewpoints. I think that's really great. Now taking MSME as a topic, maybe it's a SME or MSME, where it actually builds for India a major chunk of a GDP for us, and being in an ecosystem where you have already certain portions of groups like MCCI, CIA, CII, uh, and helping them out also. It's not something which is only startups, but and not only the corporates that you seem to be working with, but also so larger organizations, OEMs, global players, but also MSME is it playing a critical part where we talk about their growth, their business growth, their vision, mission, how they have to size themselves, how they should be looking at not only local but global market. So, do you see that plays a lot in your mind of whatever, 40, 50 years of experience that you've got out of connects and whatever designations and, roles that you have played across globally? That all things is playing back and, you get again into that giving back kind of a situation.
Yes, I personally think that I'm more focused on MSMEs because they need us. They need people like us. They cannot afford to employ us, but then certainly they can take help from us on a piecemeal basis where we can advise them. If you really look at MSME, typically they are suffering on financial management, not that they
Mhm.
are not earning. They are suffering on management part of finances. What we can say that we can do the financial restructuring. They are suffering on the organizational structuring point of view, so we can really help them on asset restructuring part of it. What we can help them is on the markets. The biggest challenge which they are facing is the markets, getting markets. So the go-to-market strategies where we can help them. We can also educate them the potential for growth that they have it, and we can also tell them that with the addition of certain technological inputs from overseas or from better collaborators or creating a joint venture, how they can grow in much larger scale than what they have it with the same installed capacity and things like that. So if one really looks at it, these are all management problems. One may look at it. Initially, if you can say that I would compare, an MSME grew along with the OEM. So if the OEM had pitched an MSME at 1 crore, the OEM grew. So today the MSME has become 500 crores.
Ah,
Whereas it has not coped up with the size and the infrastructure required to run a 500 crore company. It is being run the way it was being run at 1 crore or 10 crore or whatever it is. I may be exaggerating on the number, but certainly the problems do exist, and which is where today even MSMEs have realized that proactively they have been seeking help. They have been attending various programs where experts go and talk about manufacturing, talk about marketing, talk about digitalization, talk about inducing electronic tools to simplify operations like data management, data analytics tools, or for that matter, use of AI or IoT in manufacturing and things like that. So I personally think that there is a lot which is required to be done in MSME, and a lot many people can really spend their time in creating a good MSME structure because 55% of the total manufacturing activity is being controlled by MSMEs. And if we really say that the manufacturing is going to be 15 to 20%, or maybe 25% of the GDP, of which 55% is being contributed by
ah.
MSME, we can imagine the chunk which is there, which is starving of knowledge, or for that matter, technology, or systems or management education or things like that.
It's really wonderful to see that MSME needs definitely helping hands, helping brains. somebody to lit the light in front so that they can create that path that is unknown to them, which comes from the kind of experience, the knowledge, skills, that you've gone through. Definitely there will be acceptance and conducive way that MSME would definitely like to grow further. Now, taking it further, where now typically looking at various ecosystems, and we'll take it a little bit as a part of the closing of this interaction, where different ecosystems provide you different ways of connecting with people. Now, I'm kind of switching a little bit of a gear and talk about something which is kind of tangential, but very, very near and dear to you, like music, the musical space, right? I mean, you have been performing, you have been a great singer, and you have great connects in that ecosystem. So, I'm trying to get that lineage and linkage between various ecosystems, and you are finally a human being, right? Where you connect with people and something resonates. It could be music, it could be something else like reading or some other hobby. But do you see that it is extremely critical for human brain? Maybe as you go towards degree of satisfaction, you yourself have maybe 3,000 plus songs recorded in your own voice, and you're simply competing with yourself. It is not for numbers. So where do you see this kind of amalgamation coming together of this kind of very, very diverse ecosystems like music to industrial world?
The thing is that you have to understand, we have different phases of our life. When we were students or in college, we had all the time to do the activities that we wanted to. So if I wanted to play cricket, I used to go to ground. If I want to play badminton, I used to go to the courts. If I want to sing, I had that time to do that. And we nurtured those hobbies and they were like that. And in between, the struggle started for careers,
Hmm.
which is where the extracurricular activities or your own likings or passions, they take a back seat. So for a while, you are busy in carving out your future, in creating some kind of a career path, in reaching certain goals and things like that, where the priority shifts from the main priority becomes profession, or for that matter, the roadmap to success, or creating something for your family, so on and so forth. And that is where your personal hobbies, they take a back seat. So I have turned a full circle from the student life to where I have really come out of my own businesses, because like everyone says that a perfect professional manager is the one who makes himself redundant in his own business. And I personally think that having done that succession planning, or you can say it happened because my children, they took it on themselves. So I cannot take the credit for that. They were there, they took the responsibility, so it got planned. So I had that time to create something of my own, in which I could not have left my first passion of business, that is consulting, in which I'm doing consulting for others more than consulting for myself. But at the same time, I have some time which I can carve out for my own hobbies. And amongst the hobbies which I had it of doing pencil sketches or playing badminton or playing ground games, I have retained this hobby of music, because sitting in my library, it doesn't consume much time. And I can really do some kind of a recording of songs on a daily basis, one, two, whatever that I can. And like we always say that when you are busy, you have to find entertainment within the workspace that you have it. You will not get an extra space to entertain yourself. So while I was doing a job, I used to find a job which is lesser tough to entertain me in my work schedule. So in the same manner, today when I am done with my daily routines, I resort to the musical time or musical evening, you may say, which really refreshes me for all that 10 to 12 hours of whatever that activity or friction I have gone through. And I'm totally a fresh personality after that. So it is necessary for everyone to have some kind of a hobby which really gives them that refreshing feeling. And that is how you keep yourself fit. And I'm very proud that the health factor which I'm having with me is quite healthy. Fitness levels are quite good, and which is the message which I would like to give it to most of the people listening to this interview of mine. That first and foremost, your health matters. Because if you are struggling for almost 30, 40 years of your career, when you are supposed to enjoy your fruits of your labor, at that time, if you fall sick, then you wasted your life. Or for that matter, there can't be a worse repentance than that. Therefore, you have to see to it, ensure right through and through of your professional career that you remain fit. So your habits have to be commensurate, and you will have to maintain your levels of fitness to that extent. Well, nobody is asking you to climb an Everest, but certainly you should be able to do your daily activities and pursue your own hobbies, which will make you remain further fit and refresh you, and you will have appropriate balance of chemicals within your body, and therefore you keep all the diseases away from yourself. And this is my simple message that everyone must have a hobby.
Yeah,
Everyone must, therefore, have a good health to pursue
absolutely.
that hobby and profession both.
So balance is a key where you need to have any kind of hobby that relaxes your mind, any kind of a, exercise in the form of say yoga or walking. I see that you walk daily to make sure that you are fit and fine. As well as we are trying to build, maybe that will be part of another interview that we can have for the ecosystem where you have music as a fraternity, which is completely unstructured. We are building out a new platform called as HATKE, where you've been instrumental to drive that strategy of, how to be sufficiently self-sufficient and also to create those elements of organization structure there. So that could be a topic that we can definitely talk as a separate note. But anything that you think you want to say something about that platform?
Okay. Um, uh, well, I cannot complete this interview without acknowledging the contribution of my family. Um, to start with my parents who taught me uh, what basics were there, संस्कार आपण जे मराठीत म्हणतो ते. Thereafter, my wife, who really stood by me with all the vagaries of life, almost 52 years in friendship and 47 years in marriage. And my second generation, two daughters, two son-in-laws, son and daughter-in-law. And the best part of it is my four grandchildren.
Wow.
They give me that energy. My entire family gives me that energy to what all I'm contributing today. Because everything starts with the family. If you have a very, very strong and stable and supporting family, then rest all really falls in place. And I'm that way lucky that I could do all these things only because of the support that I have enjoyed from the home front, whether it was traveling when I was in a job situation where I used to travel half the month. Even today, we travel 100 days, 120 days for work and whatnot. So coping up with the kind of absence that we had it with the work schedules, or for that matter, different mood swings which come with the ups and downs in businesses and whatnot. I think without that support, all these things may not be possible. So that is the biggest contribution that I've had, and I feel myself very lucky that I could get that. Talking about the futuristic platforms that you mentioned it. certainly, as I said, that my agenda is always going to be full for new activities. And if something really adds value and if something really benefits the masses and it gives them opportunity to project themselves, whether
Wow.
as singers or whether as the musicians or as contributors to programs like we have this Geet Ramayan being recited in various temples and other places of pilgrimages and things like that. These things certainly do matter ultimately. And I am really very, very happy that these things are being undertaken by you and you are promoting amateurs who are getting that confidence in the reviews which I read. I feel that these amateurs are getting a lot of confidence. You are creating a very good environment or creating very good personalities, making them feel confident about they can also do it. So there are many, many people who use slogan, just do it. But then you are making that
Yeah.
happen for people to do it. So you
Yeah.
can do it, that sort of a thing.
Good, good, good. So I think family definitely is the key to success. Behind the screen, everything is supported by them. They are the pillars for whatever we see as our face in the world. I think a platform which is futuristic, where you've been driving the strategies, and we have been having the strategic meetings that matters for bringing something which is innovative, which is based on the value system that we have of giving back to the society, where people benefit out of it, and that to the larger masses. I think it makes a huge sense. Now, turning it at this kind of a juncture, I would like to ask: is there something that you aspire to do, that this must happen? And one of the things that we have been talking about is covering your life in various interviews, maybe 10 such interviews. But is there anything that you have in mind that that is something that I will definitely do?
My children have been asking me to write
Book.
books. And let me tell you, I have created the skeleton part of it already because they always say that you have been going out and talking to many people in different forums, giving so much of knowledge and giving so many important tips. I think they should be available to the entire masses rather than to a particular forum or an audience as such. And I'm seriously having that as a part of my agenda of to start with writing the first book, and
So,
thereafter maybe if left out, it could continue. Like we always say, that the first attempt is very important. Thereafter, you get used to it. So maybe we'll start writing a couple of other books as well. And yes, today is the world of digital and social media. So we would definitely create a digital content on my life. Uh, I must thank you for offering me to sit for such interviews and create that content. Yes, these things are there on my agenda. I would like to do that.
superb, superb. I think it is a great time, and thank. I don't have words to thank you, but it was amazing to talk to you, Shailendra ji. Uh, I mean, I'll not call it as a piece of advice. It is not going to end here, but a lot of people would definitely get inspired by the way that they might have heard the tip of the iceberg, but definitely thousands will reach out to you for getting further guidance from you, Shailendra ji. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, Shirish.
Wonderful. And we wish a great success for you. We wish great health for you. All this focus that you have on problem solving, value adding, let it continue forever. And whatever dreams that you have to create your own book and books, writing those books, we wish great success to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Truth Consultech, synergizing transformation.